In this first section, we're going to talk about how to destroy bad money myths and adopt God's financial truths for our life, which is more important, not just getting rid of something, but filling it with something else. So, part of removing bad mindsets is that it actually allows you to be unlocked from those things that are holding you stuck. And by adopting right mentalities, you're no longer bound and you can move into the financial freedom that God has in store for you. Money issues are seldom actually the problem. It's a symptom of something else that's going on. So some of these myths, pay attention to them, see where it actually brings you to, because usually the fruit of the issue that you're having has some deeper level roots, but we're going to go through those. The nice thing about a course like this is that you're not going to have to go in with a scalpel and something else yourself and like a book from somebody and figure out how to fix the things in your life. You go to a doctor, you go to a mechanic, and you say, I'm having these problems. What should I do? And at times, they have to be the one to do the work and the surgery. So don't do this alone. I'm here to help, and we're going to walk you through this journey. So that's one exciting thing about this course is that you're going to get the manual, but you also have an ability to have somebody else help you through it. The way to have these things be sustainable and to continue to get success would just be to put what you've learned into action. I know I harped on this at the beginning, to take that imperfect, immediate action. But I'm going to tell you a scripture that kind of reveals some of these things. So there's this story in Matthew 25 that talks about how the servant is given talents. And basically there's some that gets a lot, a medium amount, and one that gets a very little. Well, it shows that the servant that got the money, the most amount of money, it says that he went immediately and did something with the money. And so we see that the people that actually use what they're given get more. And it actually probably is, at times, gets easier to generate more. And then on the opposite side, the one that doesn't use it and buries it, even what he has got taken away from him. So kind of what I like to say is use it or lose it is that standard adage, but I think more importantly, use it and more will be given to you. So let's talk about how to reset our mindset. Because the right mindset will bulletproof your finances and money. And if you have the wrong thoughts, you can't make the right decisions no matter what budget or formula or system you have in place. And this is kind of why most lottery winners end up becoming bankrupt after they have received the largest amount of money they will probably ever receive in their lives. And nowadays there's the most sophisticated budgets and systems and tools than ever before, but most of Americans, actually over half of Americans, cannot afford an unexpected bill above $500. And here's what I'm noticing, and that I hope you're noticing, is that money or budgets are not the solution to your problems. And that's actually good news, because money and budgets are not the answer to your problems. So another way of saying it would be, you don't have to have money or a budget to fix your problems. And I think that's great news, and hopefully takes a little bit of stress and worry right there off of your back. So what do we have, or what do we have to actually see some of these changes? The right mindset. So let's go into just a little bit of a story around something for me that has happened that hopefully you can take and glean some wisdom through the process. So when I was younger, we lived in people's backyards in a trailer that was donated to us. So we were the typical charity case. And my mom was a single mom. There was 2 kids. We were 13 months apart, living in a small little trailer in somebody's backyard. And so throughout my years of living, I always thought that money was like this golden ticket to get me happiness and joy and the things that everybody else had that looked like they were happy. So even after I started making decent money as an adult, I noticed that it actually wasn't the golden ticket. So there wasn't that many things that I actually had that, I truly valued to show for that money. So eventually I started hearing from financial people that, you need to pay for things without debt, and, that's the Christian thing to do, or that's the right thing to do. And so, that was the principle, that was the formula. But it may not have been the correct thing for me to do. And let me explain why. So in this next story, even the good mindsets and principles, if they're not led by the things that really are ultimately our value, they end up can becoming something that is wrong. So after I got married, we were in the market to buy a vehicle, and my father-in-law was a successful pastor in a church nearby and had bought a vehicle from this dealership. So I said, let's bring him along, because he's going to possibly have some influence and be able to maybe help me get a great deal out of this vehicle. And so we were buying our first new vehicle that we had ever bought before. It had leather seats in it. It had a backup camera. It had Apple TV or Apple CarPlay in it. And we were excited. So we got through the whole long process of everything. And I remember sitting down and getting ready to say, well, how do you want to pay for this? And I was thinking, well, now is my time to make Dave Ramsey proud. And so I was like, well, I'm going to pay for cash. And so, but my father-in-law reached over to me and he said, let me just show you something after he leaves. And so basically he brought me through this process where what I thought was right was the wrong thing to do. So basically what happened was the interest that they were going to pay, that I was going to have to pay for the vehicle loan was very, very, very small. So for me to remove the money out of a bank account where I was getting good interest rate on it and put it towards this vehicle, there was going to be a net loss over the years of about $4,000. I was only going to pay about $900 in the interest through the loan. So he said, why don't you actually take this money as debt, pay off the vehicle, and you'll have more to show for it after this. So again, if you understand some of the principles and you allow the Lord to lead you through some of these things, you can see how bad mindsets can even take something that is supposedly good and right, but make it wrong. And so unlocking yourselves from those things are really going to help you see the areas where you can do the things that ultimately support what you value and what you love, so you can have a joy-filled life and have some finances to help support those things. So in the next section, let's look a little bit deeper into our mindsets, where they come from, and how to adopt a godly mindset.